Okay, I might do this video in two parts, depending how I think about it. Going to move away from the evolution of the room for now for this video and talk about the censorship issues in the UK. And I, I'm in two minds about this. I mean, yes, they shouldn't be going about it the way they're doing it, sort of blanket way of doing it. They're trying to look for a solution and not really understanding the problem. One of the problems is stop giving children smartphones in school. That's one of the issues. If you really want to protect your children from dodgy websites, but then you're too late. All of this is too late to the game, and the way it's being done is horrendous and just points again to UK being more of a nanny state than it is other things at this point in time. You can't stop this. And a number of times I've told American people online, get yourself behind a VPN before it's too late. Because the Trump regime, or when Trump's gone, whoever, what sociopath he surrounded himself with and who gets appointed to be the next president, because that's probably going to happen anyway. Look, the Democrats in America are too weak. The Labour is too weak in its understanding in the UK of how the internet works. Conservative approaching different in the UK are definitely trying to influence some things that it really is not in the favour of democracy. Certainly Nigel Farage is a fucking fascist. Stop voting for fascists. So there's problems across the board, right? And yeah, I'm going to attack the UK today, my own country, because it's pathetic the way they go about some of these things, because they don't understand what they're dealing with, because they're too old, they're too outside of the game. My generation grew up with my age group. Generally, I went to school where there was no internet, there was no computers at school. And then towards the end of the first school, infant to secondary school, I guess, infants, they started introducing computers and trying to educate us what can be done and why it's important and so on. And it was great. Secondary school, we got IT lessons that are hot. Then eventually, we had a whole classroom full of computers. There was early on, you were felt lucky if you had the color screen. Otherwise, you got the green screen. No, not the green screen you put behind you, but the green scale. Like if you think of grayscale, it was a green scale screen with a good big CRT screens. But then things evolving a bit more, coming up to leaving school, you could see the whole thing. I never understood, even at school, some people's ignorance of technology is right under our noses, and kind of things clicked in my head as a kid, that understanding how this is going to evolve and how it's going to affect the music industry with storage on things. You're not going to be using audio tape at some point. I was thinking along those lines, and you could see it just coming my way. But there was still, I think, ignorance is such a detriment to knowledge. Saves lives. Ignorance just ruins everything. Um, Again, the generation thing. But I grew up that generation going up to leaving school and get my first job. I wanted a home computer because this was really interesting watching this technology and knowing that these things called software, the things that you load into the computer was called software, and somebody wrote lines of code to create that. That started fascinating me, and I started learning the built-in programming language, BASIC, that was built into the Commodore C64. Right, yeah, so people are in the 40s to 50s, perhaps, so it will understand where I come from. Right? This is, back then you'd load a program, put a cassette tape deck, and load and wait half hour or so for the program to load. Now it's double click and it's loaded. So I went from snail mail, ordering something in a catalogue. Once I got my first job, I was able to order things out of a catalogue, get more and more interested in computers. I was doing those sort of things and other things, hobbies. There was no internet, but there was computing, home computing. And to order something out of a catalogue, it's a book or products. That's what the catalogue is. Handheld book, nothing on the screen. You turn the pages, you think, oh, I want one of those, and you fill out a form with the details of the product, along with a check, a paper check, a proper check, bank check, and you send it in an envelope to the address of the company selling this product. Right? Then you'd wait and wait and wait. And the unwritten rule, the unspoken rule, I guess, was like you waited till a month. If you still haven't got your product, then you ring them up, not on a mobile phone, didn't have mobile phones then. If you was lucky enough to have a landline phone, yeah. So then you ring them up saying, well, stuff hasn't arrived yet. Or you just go ask somebody who has a landline phone, relative or whatever, if you didn't have one. Yeah, that's how primitive it was. But very, very fast, very quickly, things got less and less primitive comparative to what they are, and comparative to what they were. And then I saw mobile phones evolve. Got Nokia 3310, black and digital black calculator like screen. Yeah, and all this, if you wait a month. But that age group I'm in, like saying that generation, had all the opportunity, and I took that opportunity to slot myself in there to see where this goes and go along with that evolution and understand how the internet works. Once I was home computing, the first internet had dial-up, and very, very slow. Eventually broadband, then fiber optics, and all these different upgrades, right? Upgrades of the technology, and now here we are. I can remember when YouTube was, you're only allowed, I think it was a 10-minute video, and if you had so many videos, you'll get some kind of thing where it tells you, no, you're allowed to do an hour. No, sorry, half hour. Now you can do hours of down the line anyway. It was never high definition. High definition things didn't really exist, and webcams weren't that good, but it carried on evolving. But during the evolution, I was learning a bit of programming. I was learning how DNS works, IP addresses, how to run a cPanel server, these sorts of things. So, looking at that, do you think these people who are writing these policies for censorship really understand the internet on that scale? how things work? No. They've already been told these people are being censored, where they're going to websites that pops up. You got to prove your ID or not. They already know, or they find out themselves, or they've been told by somebody else because of the power of the internet, the communication, that here's how you get yourself behind a VPN and avoid that censorship in your own country. While you're in your country with that censorship, as far as the connection is concerned, you're in a different country without such censorship. It doesn't work. And what person is going to want to upload all their details, get their face scanned and everything else, who, they don't know what's being done with their information, or some company they don't necessarily trust, but there is some content on their website that they want to see, whether it's and I'm not talking about porn sites or whatever. Sure, porn sites are blocked for age gate and all that, but it doesn't work. People are not of the age to watch such sites already know. They fire up Tor network, and they go in whatever and use an IP address of whatever country that doesn't have the same censorship. They're not going to be uploading their details. This does not work. But the UK government keeps trying to do these things over and over and over in the same way. They keep trying harder with the same crap that had them fail with censorship in the first place. And all it's going to do is have people rebel more, crying about their lack of freedom of speech, and shout and bite down even more. And the government's going to bite down even more. So what the next level, I think, is, which I really hope does not happen, they're going to induce laws for internet service providers and have it done in such a way you log in through a portal system on, the whole connection will be very controlled, somehow redirected as soon as you connect to your internet provider. But you can still drill a encrypted hole through that anyway, VPN. But if it detects too much encryption, which really should be alright, because that's how social websites work. There's encryption. It's how websites where you're buying products work, because if a hacker sees your page and it's not encrypted, they got all your details, card details, everything. So this is a double-edged sword. How much can they push the boat out to control things to get all your details of how you're connecting, where you're connecting from, what you're using to connect, what browsers you're using, what your face, your scan, your age, your details, and so on. It really should not be allowed. But they can't. They can't do this. Every time there's a push in that direction, there's always a push from what is now opposition against censorship. And I agree there should be some censorship to protect minors. But that's where it should end, because the way they're doing it seems to be a very blanketed way to do it. I don't have the answer to the ideal ways to do it, but some of the ideal ways you protect kids from dodgy connections, dodgy digital media is, number one, I think it should be illegal for kids to have smartphones. They should have some kind of connection, some kind of digital phone to be in contact with the parents and or the guardian, whoever is looking after them. Definitely that needs to be a thing. Bullying is a thing as well in the UK. everywhere else as well, I guess, where kids using their smartphones to as weapons, really, as they not just texts of when you get off the bus from school, I'm gonna beat you up or whatever, some bully, whatever. But also they'd be doing videos, sending them, and all this is a large part of it. Not all of it is very lazy parenting. It seriously is, and I see a lot of lazy parenting with certain categories of attraction in media. Get entertained, get consuming, but facts don't matter. That was the American way that fucked up America. Please, let's not. Can we stop doing that in the UK? With I work in retail, and the retail where I work, not every parent. You get parents in are very responsible, and it shows in the child that the child cares. It that is the parent okay, and the parent cares is the child okay in their own individual ways. There's that, but there's also the parents that create a monster. Again, mobile phones. We hate people like me, hate them and love them. If you're a parent with your child, do not send them into a shop like it's a baby crèche and you go and get a coffee. Take some responsibility, do be a parent. Don't have a shop have to parent for you. And if you're going in a shop with your child, put your phone away and be there for your child with your child. Don't stand at the front of the shop. I've seen this a number of times. And come on, kids, we've got to go soon. Well, go to them, communicate. If they're so much shorter, of course, bend down, stoop down to their level, talk to them, what do they want, high level, communicate. Treat them like little people, and they be little people. They won't be little monsters. They won't beg, I want, until you give in, and you give in every single time. So the child knows now that, oh, if I keep badgering mum or dad, and it's usually the mothers in the UK, this is what I'm not always, but this is what I'm seeing. That's what I have experienced. So if you don't like what I'm saying, well, change what I'm seeing by changing if you're one of those. I can only tell you what I've seen and experienced, right? So, before anyone raises, oh, that's sexist, that card, like, there's irresponsible fathers and there's irresponsible mothers. It does, from my experience, look like there was more irresponsible mothers than there are fathers. I guess my life was an exception where, my generation, they had a lot of irresponsible men, irresponsible fathers, and it seems to be swapping around. Certainly, my father was just a void, empty, wasted space and time. Yeah, and there's always been that level of laziness that really it's a domino effect. It becomes so when you create a kid that keeps badgering you because they know they're going to get away their own way. You did that. You taught them, oh, if they keep on and on, they're going to get something. So, growing up, my mother, my auntie would look after us as well when mother was off to work. Always, if we were good, we were rewarded. If we were bad, we weren't rewarded so much. If we were good, we were rewarded, and that was a lesson that taught us, be good, then you'll get respected, you'll get something, you get looked after, you won't get Just, I mean, what an empty void of an existence, badgering people just so you can get your own way, and there's no interactions, no layers of integrity with that then. And you go through all your life doing that. I want, I want, I want. And you play up if you don't get. This is why some adults are children. We've heard the term man child. There's plenty of women child as well, or woman child. People don't grow up because they weren't given the chance to be responsible. They just begged for what they wanted and they got because they're so obnoxious and annoying because they were taught that. They were taught be obnoxious and annoying, you get your own way. But you won't stack up too many friends, and I'm not one to be an advocate of piling up friends because human nature doesn't really work that way. You're narcissistic enough to think so, then there's a problem because it's not all about you. So it's always better to have acquaintances than it is friends. But again, yeah, this is a problem with the technology is shoved in front of the children too early for distraction. Kids as 4-year-olds just given an iPad. So you know, a 3-year-old, they don't know what they're. It's crazy. Get away, and there's advocacy now. And we always do this. It's always too late by the time that there's advocacy of a certain thing. Advocacy now to recognizing there's a problem. So where I work is they kind of pushing no screen time or less screen time. And here I am doing a video that you have to watch on the screen anyway. But yeah. But here I am as an adult, and that adults should be seeing this to educate themselves on what they're doing is part of a destruction of society, not just making things worse for yourself, but worse for everybody else, worse for people who are working in retail as well. And you get those people working in retail have a monster of a child begging, crying, shouting, trashing the shop. Do you think you're the only one? Oh, my kid's this or that. Do you think you're the only one? Because 9 times out of 10, these lazy parents are very self-important and very lack of awareness of other people around them. They won't understand they're not the only one. So I get a line of people, the good and the bad and the ugly. If there's too many little monsters at the end of the day, I could be a bit impatient. Then I get a customer thinking, oh, he was rude and all that, so I'm not a machine. Yeah. So there's that goes on as well. But bigger picture, it's not all about, oh, what about me? Oh, never mind the kid, he's moaning again. Yeah, have this. Work with people of all ages so they can work with you. And that really boils down to like the government with the censorship is not working with people so we can work with them. They're doing this separation. That's it's awful. It's the original. It was too late for some years back. They wanted social websites to take the responsibility for policing their content before it was even released, right? But they weren't. Mark Zuckerberg and friends turn around and go, we're not fact-checking anything. Twitter, the X .com bullshit is a nightmare. It's like 4chan 2.0. It's a new 4chan. Those who know what 4chan is. So the concerns are right, and digital media has ripped through society, but it's been allowed to via extremely lazy parenting as well. You have something digital to keep you occupied. So people are accessing all of these sites, whether there's censorship or not. There's always a way to, unfortunately. But it doesn't mean that some adult somewhere has to share all their private details to prove they're an adult. Because they don't know what's being done. They were told, oh, we take your privacy seriously and all this. How do we know that? We don't, you don't know these people. You just see their website. You don't know them. And so when it comes to the porn industry as well, there is certainly something that needs to be protected from children. Things like the videos, there was content on X, Twitter, where content was being very inappropriate. There's bullying, there's people being beat up, there's very graphic content. Yeah. So I'm reading something about this now from another YouTuber. They put a ban on Pornhub and now on Wikipedia. Wikipedia does research to make sure that their pages are accurate and fact-based for information about certain things. Anything is why Wikipedia? And you can change a page yourself in Wikipedia. You've got an account, but because there's a constant staff fact checking everything, what you change, if it's wrong, if it's deliberately wrong as well, they can ban an IP address from that. It's fine, but within their right to do so. It's like ruining the facts for getting people educated. We need to understand knowledge saves people's lives. Ignorance like this, the lack of knowledge how the internet works, and then trying to apply these laws to control how people use the internet doesn't work. Ignorance poisons everything. Look at America. The lack of knowledge, the lack of prioritizing education, which lead to knowledge of facts and how you can apply that knowledge for practical application to improve yourself and your environment and people around you, and so on. At the end of the day, knowledge and skills saves lives. Your rank don't mean shit, especially in America right now. But we don't want to go the same way in the UK. You might think I'm splitting hairs. Oh no, that's a massive picture that doesn't have, no. The attitude towards this, if applied on every level, is the problem. The wanting to control something that you don't understand is a problem. Yeah. So these laws, some of these websites are happy to have these laws applied because now they can get even more details of their users, which they can exploit and then put certain things in place for, I don't know, advertising and so on that you really weren't interested in the first place. It's an invasion of your privacy, basically. Knowing what human nature is like and how it can't be trusted until you know, so you can't trust anyone until you really know how they work properly, and then even then you still can 100% trust any primate on planet Earth. human or otherwise, just look at the bigger picture. We are crazy as a species, and we are vindictive sometimes. We hell bent on revenge sometimes. Sometimes we malfunction and we go in a malicious direction. So if you was working at a company and you pissed off one of the staff and then you left the company, and this is a digital company, so some platform perhaps like Facebook or whatever, now they got all your details because you have a Facebook account, because all this censorship thing, grabbing your details for your safety. What are they going to do with that? Are they going to frame you with something? Could that happen? Yeah. So there was push for the media giants. There was a lot of push for these platforms to take the responsibility first, but there isn't. There's third parties coming in and say, "Oh, we do this with your website because there's a new law or whatever. If you're in the UK, doing this and that." And but as soon as they hear it will enable you to have these details and this and this and this, they think, "Oh, great, yeah, we'll plug that in." All business of telemetry and watching people. There's enough telemetry on Windows as an operating system as it is. We don't want the internet to be utilized in the same way. Thank you for watching. I do need to head off for work. I might do a part 2 on this. It is disgusting the way this ignorance is trying to be, they're trying to force this and they don't understand what they're forcing. They don't understand the lack of freedoms that come with what they're forcing. And again, ignorant people are part of the problem. People who just want an easy cop out with everything and take no responsibility, even in parenting. I can hear it now. It's like, is there? You have to be a certain age to use that website. We'll go and find out. If you're worried about your child using a certain thing, take some responsibility to be a parent. Not some status symbol of, oh look, this is my son, that's my daughter. So yeah, families exist all over the place. A dime a dozen, nothing special. Yeah. Be a parent if you're proud of your child. If you're not proud of your child, well, that's your own personal issue. Don't make it everyone else's. You fix your shit. Don't let everyone else have problems because you can't take responsibility. That's part of the problem here. Is things are going awry because of lack of censorship in the first place and lack of responsibility done by these platforms in the first place. However, there's always going to be a way around because of VPNs and redirects, DNS, 101 millions of ways to get around blocks. There are. That's the nature of the internet. It's still a Wild West. It's still, it's not controlled the way people want to fantasize it's being controlled. But, these people legislating this. What's being controlled is your lack of freedom. Yeah. And, who else has got permission then? I'll be going. I did say goodbye. I'll be going there in a minute. Who else is going to get permission by law, by the way, to see all your details at a certain company or platform or social platform or whoever on the internet has all those details that you wouldn't even put up there in the first place anyway? But if it's a website that you're underage to be using, that's a parenting problem. But now everybody's got a problem because you couldn't be bothered to be a fucking parent. Or learn, what is your child doing over the internet? What is your child doing with their mobile phone, with your hard-earned cash? Yeah. Who's taking responsibility? Who's in control? And where you can be in control, what is that? How do you get control? You take responsibility for your actions and you do the thing that's required. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. There's no easy fix yet. It's a constant thing. It never goes away. There's no exact solution. There's always going to be a to and fro. Cheers. Take care. Bye bye.